Hello, everyone, and welcome to dotConnect 2024. My name is Will Ezel, and I'm a founder here at dotCMS, and I'm here with Freddie Montes, our product manager and lead front-end developer, to deliver a session called Figma to Front-End, an AI-driven page building in dotCMS. I've been doing content management now for over 25 years and seen all the trends and how web development really has changed over time, right? We've gone from static sites and pages to server-side requests to CSS framework driven pages to using REST, jQuery, and Bootstrap to single-page apps and client-side apps to PWA to headless technologies and like React, Next.js, and Vue, which now offer both client and server-side rendering. All that's cool, but the fads keep moving. And what has not changed in that is the fact that in each of these cases, the content that's being delivered actually needs to be managed by business users that need to be able to build and update pages, content, and experiences without requiring a fleet of developers. That's literally why the
Yeah,
idea of a CMS was invented, and that's
yeah,
still the problem set today.
yeah. That's why we build the universal visual editor. It's the whole idea that content management should be universal, right? And we build that to address this exact problem, right? We don't want developers to be constrained to certain technologies. On the contrary, we want developers to choose the stack that they feel more comfortable, that they can deploy faster web apps.
That's right. And so, all that's history. But really, the biggest change that I've seen since the start of the internet really is the rise of AI and how AI, and this is not a new thought, but AI can be used to augment and speed the development of new content and pages, and it really is collapsing the roles that are required to deliver and develop fully customized, high-performance web application sites and pages. I know our competitors are touting the fact right now that using AI, you can take a design in Figma, import it, and use prompts to build out the components in the page without coding. The truth is that's not even a unique capability and actually prevents developers from using tools that they know and are comfortable with.
Yeah, it's kind of like a vendor locking form, I think, um, because you can do this with .cms or any other data source that you want. Like for example, in this session, I use Cursor. I'm going to use Cursor, which is free and available, and it is an IDE built specifically to enable developers to use AI within the IDE, right? And this is just one of the examples because you can still use like GitHub Copilot or Gemini or Amazon Whisper, anything, or even b0.dev, which is a solution that Vercel builds specifically to generate React components. So I don't think that we should like lock into certain technology when there are so many out there and there are so many coming really fast.
And this space is accelerating exponentially, right? So like getting locked into a platform or a vendor, you're going to miss new capabilities as they're released. I mean, we're switching AI models that we're using for coding all the time. Whatever the leaderboard is, like we're leveling up, and each of them provides this sort of wow moment where you see, oh my God, I can't believe it knew that. Um, that said, we're moving on to the demonstration, and one thing I want to share about this demonstration that's completely amazing is that it completes the entire life cycle of building a new landing page in dotCMS. It starts with an empty page. It's made up of about 4 or 5 common content types, things like banner or call to action or carousel. And Freddie shows that with a Figma design and just prompts, he can turn that into a fully manageable page in dotCMS using UVE. So Freddie, take it away.
Okay, we're ready to go. Here, the first thing that I want to show you is the Figma file where we designed the landing page, right? So this is a light version of the new.cms.com. And as you can see, it has the header, it has a hero section and a huge image, really nice image. We got some of our customers logo. We got another banner here. Um, then we got what I call a feature section, which is image and some information here. And last but not least, we got the footer, right? So this is a landing page, a lot of information, a lot of things going on here, colors, etc., right? And here I have on the left I got my Next.js app open in Cursor, which is the IDE that we were talking about. And on the right, I got a page that is rendered in Next.js with this project loaded inside the Universal Visual Editor. Okay, I have this literally running right here, and here is my local host of dotCMS. So I got it side by side on my terminal. And this is the typical Next.js, nothing fancy. We got Next.js 14 here. We got dotCMS client and dotCMS React, which are the libraries that we provided on SDK. That is going to ease how do you render your page and how you communicate with our APIs. Then we have here in the environmental variables, we have two variables. We got the host, which is in this case localhost 8080, and we got the auth token. Of course, this is private. It should not go to your GitHub repo. You are seeing this here, but as soon as I finish this, I'm going to delete everything. So that will be long gone when you see this video. Then in the source, we got the app folder. We're using the app router of Next.js. We have components, hooks, utils, and here we have the client. And this is a file where I like to initialize the dotCMS client. And we do that by importing the dotCMS client and initializing and passing the dotCMS URL and the token. They both come in, like I said, from the environmental variables. And then these request options, I disable the cache because I don't want Next.js dealing with cache when I'm developing, right? But this is in production, you can get rid of this. Then we got a hook that we use. This is just to communicate with dotCMS. The components, we only have the one page. And then inside the app, we have this folder, which is log. These brackets, what we're doing here is we're saying all the pages, all the paths are going to be cached or are going to be rendered with this file right here. And we're doing that for a very special reason, and it's the fact that I don't want that every time a content author creates a new page in .cms, the developer has to come here and create a new folder. So basically, this will catch all the pages, new or old, that are created in .cms. And the other piece, and this is one of the important pieces, this is a way that I handle this, is I have this composer folder. It could be named anything. But I have here this instruction markdown, and this is a big prompt that I wrote to tell the IDE or the AI basically, how are we going to build this, right? So this is the typical, role play as a front-end developer. You're building the application in Next.js and Tailwind and with JavaScript. This is the file structure that I want you to use. This is the colors that I want you to use for this theme. Of course, I extract these colors from the Figma. And then I start describing each section, header, hero banner, the logos, all that I described here and how it works. And just a few extra things just to basically signal the AI how to build this, right? And the cool thing about this is I can then point to a specific step and say to them like, hey, we want to build this, we want to build that. So it's a pretty cool approach. Then we have the screenshots. And these screenshots are screenshots of the design that then I use to send to the IDE to tell them how something that I want to build looks like. So I have the banners, I got features, I got the footer, header, I got the logos, I got everything, right? And then last but not least, I have mocks of the content of .cms. I literally have mocks here, like for the banner, the feature, everything. And this I use to tell the AI, these are the props that you are going to receive for the components, right? So I prep everything ahead of time, but this is basically us telling the AI or giving it all the context that we have for them to build this landing page properly, right? And basically I got this set up and I'm ready to start, right? So the way that I do this is I open the composer, right? Cursor have this composer where basically it allows you to do multi-file editing. Right here, I'm using the Cloud Sonnet, the latest model. I can use GPT-4o, GPT-4o Mini, but this is the one that I get the best results, right? I can open this like in a full pop-up window. But like it depends on what you're doing. You can either have it here or here. It's no different. It's the same thing. So the first thing that I do is I'm going to tell it, I will provide instructions, but I'm going to mention the file. So I type at, and then I can find the file. And you are going to build the landing page using this as your guide, right? Before we start, I want you to tell me a step by step the instructions provided. And here I always do this, and I said, don't build, just tell. Because these have internal prompts that is always ready to build. Actually, don't build just yet. So he tells me a breakdown of everything that I already have in that prompt. So how the project is set up, the file structure, the theme, the required section. So everything is there. I'm telling them like use link for the navigation, use this image component stuff, like everything, right? And then I start saying, would you like me to proceed with a specific part of the landing page? And I'm going to say, yes, please do the tailwind. And I always mention files, the tailwind config and the global CSS config. So now he's modifying the tailwind config, right? And now it's adding some basic styling for the global, right? So you can see the changes here. You can go back and forth. And then I can set upset all, and that's it. That's applied. You don't see any too much changes because it doesn't change anything. But if I come here, you can see that the tailwind config have these changes, which is basically what I told him to do. And the global CSS have this styling for the H, the headings and the body. That's basically what I asked. We can add more or remove, but basically that's what I ask. So yeah, that's good. We already done with the first step. Now I can come here and say add, and I'm gonna say sure add CSS and Tailwind config, right? I commit with every step because AI is really good doing step by step. If you try to do big things, not very good at it. So now I'm going back again to this, and I can say, okay, I know that the next step is the header. So I'm going to say, Bill, let's do the next step, the header. Here is the screenshot. And here is the logo, because I have a logo SVG that the header is going to use. And then last but not least, I said, add the new header component to the layout, because, you know, um, Next.js use layout files, and I can mention that and I can reference. So I'm going to hit enter. So there is creating a new header.js component. He knows to put it in the components folder. Now it's updating the layout. It's actually telling me like I fixed a header with a white background. So it tells you what it did. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know yet. I can go here and maybe check what's actually done here. I don't have too much space. I can make it slow. But, I can just set upset all. And if you see here, you can see that we have a header. And it looks very similar to the screenshot that I sent. If I open the screenshot right here, it's very, very similar. The call to action is not there yet, but it's looking fairly okay-ish. I think the responsiveness, is okay-ish. We can work on that later. But I'm gonna say, because I know that he didn't add the call to action to an external, I'm gonna make that an external component. So I can keep working on it, and I can say, make the call to action button an external component, because we're going to reuse it. So I'm not telling anything like how to call it or anything or where to put it, just by telling that because that's already in the instructions. He had the context for everything. So it generates a button component. I don't like that name. I think it's too generic, but it's fine. So it has variants, solid, blah, blah, blah. You can add custom classes. So it's telling you that the component is good enough. Let me see how to use it in the header. As you can see here that it uses in the header. Uh, the button has this. So it could be solid or it could be outline. So yeah, that's look good to me. I'm going to hit accept all. Uh, I don't like that the button wraps. So I'm going to say here that the label of the button should not wrap. It feels fix that fairly quick. Okay, white space to the base styling. Yeah, so it's not wrapping anymore. Of course, we don't have the space, but you got the idea. And yeah, we got a header, we got a button, we got updated layout. So I'm going to add this and I'm going to say set it add header. So far we got header, we got tailwind. It's looking good. I think the header is sticky, and I think that's not good for our use case. We can take a look at that later. And now we're going to start working on the components. But in the components, let me show you something that we need to take into consideration. So the way that the the React component in dotCMS works is the React components will give you everything. Like you don't have to do the rows, the columns, or anything like that. You just need to provide the page asset coming from the page API, and you have to provide the component. So in our case, I know that we have a banner component, an image component, a logo listing, a banner, and a feature. Those are content types that I created at dotCMS, and I create the content list to add it to this page, right? So how are we providing the page? This is already connected. If we go to the page right here, you can see that here is how this is pure Next.js. This is how it works, right? So we're gonna get the params, then we're gonna get the slug. The slug is actually from this name right here. And so basically, if the page is /index, we're gonna have here index. If it's /blog, we're gonna have here blogs. And then we call the page API from client page get, and you pass the path, and you say depth one because we have some relationships in the logo listing, so we need to set to .cms, give me those relationships, and this will give you the page asset, and then you pass that to my page, and then my page will take that and pass it down to the .cms layout. So we give the .cms layout the page asset, which is the response from the page API that, by the way, you have right here. You can see the response right here. It's a big response, include layout, row, columns, everything, right? You don't have to care too much about it because here you're getting that and you just pass it down, right? We take care of everything. And but what you have to care is the components map, right? In these component maps, what you need to do is to pass the key. It would be the name of the content type, which is in this case is banner, image, logo listing. As you can see, we're printing that right here. And the value is the component that you want that content type or that content to be rendered with, right? So if you want to render the banner with something, I can come here and set banner, right? And then I can say, I'm going to create a component fairly quick here. And I'm going to say my custom banner. I just see that it's saying banner here. As soon as I saved, I should come here and refresh. You said that it said my custom banner, right? If I remove this, it's just doing fallback to this one, right? So if I refresh once again, it goes like this, right? So that's how it works. So we're going to start building these components one by one, but we need to tell the AI that update the component maps when it builds a component. And we need to tell them that dotCMS, or in this case, the dotCMS layout is going to pass the content directly. So they don't have to like add it or anything. So this problem, the first one is going to be a little bit long, but then we can just set, next component, and he knows how it works. So I'm going to say, I want you to build the banner component. Here is the screenshot, because I have one here. And here is the mock. So I'm gonna say, I think I call that home hero, right? When you build that, you need to pass it to the components map. So I'm going to copy these two things and I'm gonna say components map, right? The key of the object is the content type bar, which is the name that comes out in the dotCMS content. And the value is your actual component. The component will receive the contentlet like this. Banner will receive the props, right? And there is one more thing. So in dotCMS, we have the block editor field, which is great to create different content. But to render that, we also provide a component that is already in our React SDK. So I'm going to say, to render the prose mirror content that we have in, I think the fields are named in the fields headline and content, you need to use it's called block editor rendered from, and I'm gonna say our library .cms/react and pass the value as props, as blocks, right? This is a big prompt, but I only have to do this first time. The next one, he already know how to handle it. So let's see what we do. So it's generating banner.js. It's updating my page. So it added the banner right there in the components. And I think everything is fairly okay. I'm not sure what it changed this. But let's just accept all and see what we can get. I'm gonna save here. I'm just gonna refresh. And there we go. I mean, it was very, very, very close. I want to actually see the banner to make sure that it's using what I said. So it's using the block editor render for the content and for the headline. And it's using this button that we provide for the CTO, for the one that he builds for the call to action. So it's actually using that. We can set that the color is not primary, that is black, and we can ask the hover, but we can do that later to that specific component. But in short, it did pretty much everything in this component. There are a couple of things that I want to adjust. So I'm going to go back to the composer and I'm going to say the headline needs to tie the line height. Just it. Let's see where it goes. It's updating that. Okay, it used leading 1.1. That's going to work, actually. If I say, see, it tied it up. But I don't want it to use custom Tailwind units. I can say, please use Tailwind default variables for line height, for leading. Okay. Okay, now it's using leading tight. It's a little bit bigger, but I think we're good there. So now if you see Let me open the banner. So if you see here, you can see that the bold, or at least what I said as bold, is pink, right? So I'm going to say in the heading section, make the B and strong, because I don't know what we use, primary color. And font weight normal, because that's how it looks like in the banner, in the screenshot. So it's updating. Okay, so it's using text primary, font normal, text primary. It accepts, boom. I think normal is not right, so I think it's more like regular. Um, but in this kind of things, I think it's faster if you go and you find it and you just change it yourself. So I'm gonna say font, what's the next? Regular, normal, extra bold. I'm not sure which one. Um, Let me just get rid of this. I don't think I have to go over that yet. So I'm just gonna get rid of this. Yeah, I think that looks better. And we got our banners. We got two banners because those two are the same content type. Um, but there is one more thing. So let me show you something. This banner actually have a call to action, but this banner does not, and it's still showing that, right? So we can go back to this and we can say the call to action field, which is an array of contentlets, uh, is not required. So only show the button when the field is, I want to say the field length is bigger than 0. Thinking. Is updating the banner. Okay, so it added a condition. So if the call to action, let me see. Oh, and I just noticed something else. So I'm going to accept. So now you can see. But I just noticed something, which is the call to action is not using the information from the API. It's actually just hard coding that. So let's do that. Let's say use the label and the link and the href from the call to action. Okay, href and label accept, and it fails. So it fails the prop for the href as a string or object in link you guys undefined. Okay, so it's not understanding which one it is. We can do two things here. We can go and fix it ourselves, which is probably gonna be faster, but I wanna do something. I wanna copy this error, and I'm just gonna paste it here, and I'm gonna say, we got an error. And it's gonna read that, and it's gonna try to fix it. So he's trying to, he's trying to access something directly, so something is failing, blah, blah, blah. So let's see what he can do. So it changed href to URL and label to title. Let's see what we can do. It worked. So now if I hover this, it should be the information that we have here, right? So it can also fix error. So I think we're good. We can fix this later. So I'm just going to commit that. So I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna hit this. and I'm gonna say fit add banner component, right? The next thing that we gotta do, I'm not going to do the image. I think we can do the image manually. I'm going to do the logo listing next. So I'm gonna go here and I'm going to say, open this so we can have more space. And I'm gonna say, let's do the next step, the logo listing. Here is the screenshot, logo listing, and here is the mock data. So logo listing, logo grid. There you go. Let me hit submit because I want you to see something. There is a piece that I didn't tell it. So let me see what it does here. So it added the logo listing here in the component. I didn't say anything. He created it, of course. Now I'm gonna hit accept. I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna refresh. And the logos are there. Actually, if you go in the content led, you can see those are the logo, Vodafone, Comcast, Newell, right? But the image is not being rendered correctly. And that's because we gotta tell it what's the source for the .cms images. And I'm gonna say, oh, I forgot to tell you that to render those images, you need to use the source like this. And I'm gonna say HTTP localhost 8080. Of course, we can do this better. I just wanted to do that. And it's gonna say DA identifier and the name of the field of the logo, which is image. You can see that it changed here. It added customer logo here. I don't think it's going to work. I hit accept. It didn't work. So I'm going to say, I can just come here and say, well, not here, but I can just say, this is actually, this should be log, no, like this. This should be logo dot identifier. Of course, it doesn't know exactly how to render things from the dotCMS image API. You got to do that. Oh, you know what? It's actually customer identifier. I didn't pick up this. So I'm going to say, sorry, it was customer dot identify. And Next.js have image loader and a bunch of things that you can do this better. You don't have to like pass very specific source. I just did this way so I can show you how you can actually prompt those sort of things. And there we go. Once he got that nailed down, you got the logos and it's even responsive. So I didn't tell it to be responsive. He assumed, probably because of the name, that it needs to be responsive. So that's it. Now we got a logo listing. So I'm going to say fit add logo listing, right? Oops, I didn't save this. I'm not sure if I had to. Okay, no, it's clean. Okay, cool. Next thing, let's go with the features, right? Just this one right here. So I'm going to say, let's do the feature component. Here is the screenshot. And here is the mock. In the screenshot, there are two features, but the component only needs to render one. Let's see. Okay, creating feature.js, image, free headline, and content. So he knows what he needs to do. He's adding it to the my page component in the key features. He's telling you what to do and everything. I'm gonna hit accept. And I'm gonna come back here and refresh. And it get a little crazy with the colors, but it's very, very close to what we have. Of course, we can go in and fix things here and there, but it's very, very, very close. Like for example, these badges, they didn't do it correctly, but we can definitely go there into the nitty details. We can set make it responsive, but it's already responsive. So to some point, it just collapsed the image, as you can see, right? I don't tell it to do that. He just no. Um, yeah, I don't think we have to do much here. Maybe tied up a little bit the line height here, but I just want to do that. I'm just gonna come here and I'm gonna say H2 and I'm gonna say leading tide. Uh, maybe here I need some padding. So maybe here I can say that's probably a paragraph, I'm not sure. But I mean, absolute before. It's like he's adding all these things that we didn't say to add it. He's just doing it that way. But let's fix that. Let's say the list don't need bullet, actually needs bottom border, and everything here should be green instead of orange. So let's, oops, orange or whatever I wrote there. I'm pretty sure it's gonna pick it up. So it changed things, it added a border green. So the border green is there, but it's just too subtle because it added border green 100. I don't want to deal with like, oh, make it 500 or whatever. So I just come here and I'm gonna find that 100 and I'm gonna say it's 500. And then you got it. And then I'm gonna say, you know what, the UL, I want to add some margin top to the UL, or I'm gonna add like, let's do add underscore P margin 4. Yeah, like that. This should do it. There you go. So now I added some margin here. This is too big, this thing right here. So I'm gonna say, let me find it, PV2. It's better in margin 2. I even can say PV1, I think. In margin 3, probably. Yeah, I think that looks good. We can keep tweaking and make it a little bit better, but I think we're good to go. Yeah, so we got our feature. Now I'm gonna come here and I'm going, of course, to feat add feature component. And we only miss one more, and it's gonna be the footer. So let's do that. Let's pop open again the composer. Let's make it big. And I'm gonna say, okay, let's do the footer. Here is the screenshot. And that's it, because the footer, I don't have a mock for it. It's just static tasks. So let's see what we can do. I didn't even tell it to add it to the layout. I'm not sure if it's going to do it. I, if I have to guess, I will say yes. But it's writing everything for the footer. It's hard coding all that, which can be done better, right? Instead of hard coding, it added it to the layout. So I'm gonna hit accept, and we have our footer. And this is, I didn't even said what logo to use. And it used, I think it used, let me see what logo actually used here, because I didn't tell it what logo to use. So it used the same logo, but it inverted it. So invert the color, because if you see the logo is black, it's just made it white because he knows the background is black. So yeah, he can do all those sort of things. I'm not sure if the company is responsive or the company is not fine. So I'm going to fix that. There are a couple of things that I need to fix. So I'm going to take a screenshot of this. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to say the company column is wrapping and it should not. Okay, he did some change there and I'm going to accept and boom, we got an error. I'm not sure what it did. I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to say we have this error and I'm going to paste it. The issue is that the footer component where we were importing image from next link instead of next image. Oh, okay. Okay, so he said that he fixed it and he did. And now we got all that. Um, yep. There is one last thing in the footer. Not here. I'm gonna here. We have this underlying pink or primary. So I'm going to say the headings in the footer have a primary under primary bottom border. Okay, it added something. Yep, it did it pretty well. So we got our footer. Um, we can iterate over because, for example, this is not a good practice that you have all the links hard coded. This is probably coming from the .cms or whatever. I mean, you can keep iterating and said, make this an array, map, loop over all of those, and those sort of things. But yeah, you can just do it. I'm not doing it right now. Feed add footer component. Let me stage this. Yeah, we got the footer. Now we're missing the image. I mean, I can prompt it to make the image component, or I can just go to my page and do it myself. So let me just prompt it, and I'm gonna say, okay, build the image, remember the source format, and make sure it's full width and auto height. That's the thing that we need. He's creating the image component. So I did it like that. I didn't see that he imported in the map. I'm gonna hit accept and nothing is gonna happen because it needs to be imported. Import the image component to the component maps in my page. I don't even have to tell it my page. I just want to make sure that you just do it. Okay. So it did it. Not sure if it's going to work. It's actually there, but it's not working for some reason. So I'm going to see what's going on. Source, what are we sending here? We're sending all the content let, and he's trying to get sort, but it actually can do that. He should got identifier So this is the type of things that is faster if you fix it yourself. So you can do identifier, and he knows where to put it. Let me save. Oops. And then, yeah, that's it. We got our image, and it's full screen, right? And now you have a full editable page. I can come here and move this thing up and down, right? And it's just saving the changes. I can come here and let me just refresh, and I can edit this, and I can say simplify content, um, simplify universal visual editor, and I'm gonna hit publish, and there you go. That's it. All prompting, 99% of what I did, it was just prompting and make sure that I give all the context. And now we got a fairly good landing page in no time, connected to dotCMS, editable in UVE, ready to go.
Yeah, and that's it. Freddie just took a Figma design and an idea in dotCMS and made that a fully manageable page using UVE in dotCMS. There was a little coding, a couple CSS changes, but maybe 2 or 3 little CSS changes, but it's just incredible.
Yeah, no, and at the end, there are some things that are faster if you do it yourself manually, but most of there, if you can use AI, just use AI.
Right. And so Freddie and I are around for questions. We're happy to take questions, and they could be asynchronous, whatever. My email is will@dotCMS, and Freddie is Freddie.montes@dotCMS.
No, it's Freddie at dotCMS.
Just Freddie. All right.
Yeah.
We're OGs here. So,
we're OGs, yeah.
Yeah. And appreciate everyone's time, and thank you so much for watching and making it this long. But really, this is the future, guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you.